In 1971, DC Comics reintroduced a new horror anthology series titled The House of Secrets. This was a companion title to the series House of Mystery. The host for these tales was Abel, brother to the host of the House of Mystery, Cain, acting as an audience conduit, much like the Crypt Keeper in Tales from the Crypt. Although not many unique characters survived this series for further publication, there was one that went on to have a long-lasting impact on the DCU and on comic book fans around the world. The Keeper of the Green, Swamp Thing. His very first appearance was in July 1971, in issue number 92 of The House of Secrets. He would later be given his own run in the self-titled Swamp Thing in November 1972. To this day, Swamp Thing survives as a sometimes hero, sometimes anti-hero, and has had critical roles in Crisis on Infinite Earths and Brightest Day. He has battled Batman, seized Gotham City, partnered with and battled against John Constantine, and his allegiance in a fight is always tenable at best. With such a storied history, let's take a look back at his first ever appearance, and then his first ever self-titled debut issue, and rediscover the roots of the creature known as Swamp Thing. But before we do, we'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe, comment, and share this video out. It really helps out the channel each and every week. Thank you. House of Secrets Volume 2, Issue 92, begins with brothers Cain and Abel hunting snipe in a cemetery. They invite us readers to join them, and as they wait for their prey, they entertain us with a recollection of a mysterious new monster from the darkness, in the short story titled Swamp Thing.
I cannot remember the morning anymore, but I know the evening well. I belong to it now, and it cares for me in return, sheltering me, nurturing me, holding me close within its velvet embrace. The moon is rising now, clawing its way into the sky, a glowing amber eve that casts its disdainful gaze on the murky ooze below, the swamp that is my home. I move slowly through the moss, draped in mire, treading a path that is worn smooth from my constant passing. On beyond the shadows and the dark trees' twisting tendrils, to my inevitable destination. The edge of the swamp and the mist, a wet old mansion that rises like an aging apparition into a cold expanse of sky, a stately sanctuary full of bright lights and promises, and memories that bring only pain. I stood watching that old gray edifice for more lonely nights than I want to recall, dreaming endlessly of the soft golden lady who lives within it, knowing I can never have her, wondering what she's doing now. You smile because he expects you to, but in the shadowed corners of your heart, there is no real joy. There never can be.
A toast, my darling, to us. Today is 6 months since we were wed. Your name is Linda Olson Ridge, and your mind is a raging river this night, carrying your thoughts along a surging stream of consciousness, sending memories crashing like waves upon some distant shore. You're thinking about Alex again, aren't you, darling? I can see it in your eyes. Linda replies, I'm sorry, Damien. It's just that he's still so real to me. Damien tells Linda Alex Olson is dead, and you are my wife now. Eventually, you will have to realize that fact. Alex is gone, darling. There is nothing to do but forget him. But for Linda, she cannot. She can never forget Alex Olson. To deny a part of herself, a good part, filled with happy summer days and star-dappled nights. Mist covers her eyes and memories fall with the tears. And what is a memory? It is ribbons, candles, a party. She had been Alex's wife for 12 short months, it seems like only yesterday. We are transported to the past. Damien Ridge toasts his best friend's wedding anniversary. He tells Alex that he really envies him for having such a prize of a wife. For her part, Linda can't believe how lucky she is. Alex, a fast-rising scientist with the world at his doorstep. To mark the occasion, she gifts to him a golden bracelet. Later on, we see Alex and Damien working together in the lab, on the cusp of a breakthrough that will make them famous. What is a memory? It is the searing sound of devastation as you watch your world go up in flames before you. Damien and Linda can do nothing but watch as Alex's lab is consumed in an explosion, along with all of Alex himself. What is a memory? It is the gaping wound that once had been your heart when you learn you are now alone. Damien refuses to let Linda into the lab. There's nothing for her to see. Alex is dead, and she is crushed under the weight of a sudden loss. What is a memory? It is a fleeting fantasy far too painful to long remain, that carries you back through the portal of the past to the harsh reality of now. Back in present day, Linda has not heard a word her second husband has said. She apologizes to him, blames her mind for wandering.
Already it's begun to fall, as cold and empty as the aching deep within me. I can bear it no longer. The grim gray manor stands stark against the night, mocking me, and I begin to move.
For Linda, the nights have grown colder. Damien asks her what is wrong, that she seems unwell. Linda blames the chill air, tells him that it will pass, but as she looks into Damien's eyes, she sees a darkness, a shadow, like a veiled whisper that quickly fades away, and she wonders. Damien wonders too. Linda is so sweet and lovely. He wonders how he never forgave Alex for marrying her when he knew just how much Damien loved her. Linda will never know just how hard it was to keep up the facade of eternal friendship, to have to see them every day, to never know her touch, the smell of her hair, how it became so unbearable that he had to act. It was he who arranged for the explosion that night, he who altered the chemicals, he who acted to rid himself of his greatest obstacle, his very good friend, Alex. She will never know that Alex was not killed in the explosion, but he survived, bloodied, battered, broken, and that Alex's fate was Damien dragging his limp body into the fetid swamp and burying him there alive. All he needed to do then was play the bereaved friend, the support, the shoulder to cry on, and inevitably, Linda would give in to the comfort, and they would be married after all. Damien releases his hold on Linda. She tells him she's going to retire to her room for the night, and Damien allows it. As she walks to her room, she can feel Damien's gaze, boring a hole through her back. For Damien, realizing that Linda cannot bear his touch, she must be putting the pieces together. It's only a matter of time before she brings about his end, too. There's only one option. Linda must die.
The candles that light your room provide the only real warmth you felt this night. But even though that mellow glow, the chill returns once more. My heart beats softly once again, for the sparkle in her eyes fills my soul with a joy I cannot deserve. Linda, her name rings like fine crystal. Her hair shines like gold.
Damien enters the room, asks Linda if she feels better. Linda tells her husband she does. Just a little. Nothing to worry about. Damien offers to massage her neck, while the creature from the swamp watches, concealed in raindrops behind the window.
I watch Damien Ridge walk softly across the rug, and something glitters in his hand. A hypodermic needle. He stands silently behind her, the needle poised to strike, to end the life of the only thing in this world that makes my existence bearable. The only reason love. Fear fills the spaces behind my eyes, and I walk into the room.
Damien turns to see the creature charge him.
With a speed I've never known before, I move the fetid bulk that is my body across the span of feet, and the claw that is my hand closes upon Damien's wrist, crushing it.
Damien screams out in pain, "Get away!" But he's caught in the monster's grip.
Slowly, certainly, I force the life from Damien's black-hearted body, a life he does not deserve. For several short minutes, Damien Ridge struggles for his unworthy life, tearing, clawing, and ripping decaying shreds from what was once my flesh, until at last, he lies still, forever, and my bright golden lady stands screaming behind me.
The beast turns to his once true love, arms outstretched, but Linda is terrified and screams out for him to stay away.
I stretch out my arms to her, to calm her, to comfort her. I open my mouth to tell her how much I cared, but what once had been my vocal cords have been silent too long. I cannot make a sound. The tortured, shattered look in her once sparkling eyes is more than I can endure. I turn my face away from her, and I start to go home. Only the swamp is kind to me now. It is only the swamp that cares. I look down at my wrist, at the barren place where once there was a golden bracelet, and I wonder where it is. If tears could come, they would.
Issue number 1 of Swamp Thing premiered 1 year later, in November of 1972. He would keep part of his original name, be given a similar origin story, but this time, he would become a permanent fixture in the DC universe. The darkness cries, a long mournful wail that rides through the gnarled cypress branches, like the breath of Hades' wind, skipping over the placid surface of the stagnant mire below. This is Bayou Country, a swampy, desolate marshland, forsaken by civilized man and now inhabited by far less demanding creatures. Herons that angrily stretch their wings, mottled bullfrogs croaking the night song, great reptiles lolling about. However, this night, impatient humanity intrudes into this primitive region once more. Humanity in something far less human. A misshapen monstrosity hides deep in the shadow, gazing at the lone structure that rises from the bog, and his mind thinks only one thing.
They will return. Those who killed me. They will return, and I will be waiting.
This is the story, Dark Genesis. The creature, still fixated on the barn with glowing red eyes, leans forward in the driving wind and rain and thinks.
That house, that smirking shell of a house, stands there taunting me, laughing, as if it were responsible for all that has happened here.
Sometime in the near past, on a bright blue day, at the same barn in the bog, a red car pulls up. The structure has been quickly refurbished for the new occupants, Doctors Alec and Linda Holland, now working for the government in secret. Their handler, Lieutenant Cable, he explains to them just how valuable they are to the government. Their research on biorestorative properties a top priority. So much so, they are being stashed in what Lieutenant Cable calls the suburb of nowhere, to keep them out of the hands of other prospective employers. As he leaves, Lieutenant Cable reminds them that a patrol car will be in the area constantly watching over them. For Linda, it spooks her a little bit, and she begs to go inside. When the two doctors enter, they are greeted by enough lab equipment to, as Alec puts it, build a monster. Linda just hopes that there's a stocked fridge. She is starving from the trip. A few days later, in the evening hours, the project is ready for testing. A chemical compound that will allow gardens to grow in deserts. They begin their test and celebrate the results. The compound works better than expected. Then, a knock at the door. It must be Lieutenant Cable. However, when they open the door, they see that it is not. A man who introduces himself as Ferret asks to have a word with Dr. Holland in private. Alec tells their unwanted guest that a patrol car is in the area and demands to know how they got by it. For Ferret, this is not important. What is important is that he represents a private organization interested in purchasing his biorestorative formula, so much so they offer him a blank check. Ferret adds that if he were Dr. Holland, he would accept the offer. But Alec tells him that he is not their friend, and the formula is not for sale, at which time Ferret asks his associate Bruno to convince the gentleman otherwise. As Bruno stalks the doctor, Ferret's lookout man tells him that they have company. There is another car coming up the road. The three men hastily leave, but not without conveying a warning. The doctor should think about accepting their generous offer. It will save them all a lot of trouble, and they will be seeing Dr. Holland again, and soon. The sound of one car engine is replaced by the sound of another. Cable is now at the door. He tells Alec that they were checking out an unregistered car in the area. Alec angrily tells them that they should have checked there first, and relays the events of their recent visitors. Cable condescendingly reminds the doctor that he should have called for help, and that the conversation they had on their first day was no joke, that Alec and Linda were commodities to be bought, sold, and traded by whoever can manage to own them, that when finished, their formula will give the owners the power to control the world, a power that anyone would do anything to own, or if they cannot own it, they would rather see the doctors dead than their enemies in possession of it. The next time they open the door, they better know who's behind it, and with that, Cable leaves. A few minutes later, and a sound outside stirs Alec to action. Linda thinks Lieutenant Cable was being melodramatic. Alec thinks otherwise. He grabs a shotgun and goes to the door to find out who it is now. But as the nervous scientist opens up, he is greeted by an old hound dog. To Linda, he looks lost and hungry. She begs Alec to keep him. Initially, he is firmly against keeping the flea-infested mutt, but Linda works her charm and Alec relents. The dog can stay. Alec tells Linda that he should have his head examined for allowing this. Miles away, in an undisclosed location, a man monitoring a radio remarks that Dr. Alec Holland ought to have the dog's head examined. Maybe then he will find the tiny radio transmitter they planted there. Our spy, codenamed Louisiana Blue, contacts his employer, Mr. E, a white-haired old man sitting in a darkened room surrounded by macabre objects. His only companion, a primate. He tells him that everything is going according to plan. Mr. E tells Louisiana Blue that when the Hollands are finished with their work, he knows what must be done. Send Ferret around one more time with a repeat offer. If they can get that formula without any difficulty, then all's well and good. But the Conclave has many enterprises that would be in jeopardy if that formula was to get out. Thus, if the Conclave cannot have it, nobody will, and the Hollands and their work will be destroyed. Ferret and his men reapproach Dr. Holland with their offer. Alec responds by pointing a shotgun at them. He threatens Ferret with jail. For Ferret, he is sorry he cannot accommodate the good doctor. Bruno strikes Alec from behind, knocking him out. Before leaving, Ferret's men place their surprise package from Mr. E under one of Alec's lab tables. Moments later, Alec Holland comes too. He crawls, wondering where everyone went. Then, he sees it. A bomb has been attached to the underside of a table. He reaches out, thinking he can defuse it before it counts down. As he does so, he bumps the table, causing the glass beakers to crack. Then, Alec Holland is engulfed in chemical-fueled flames. But he is not yet finished. Alec runs from the barn, every inch of him on fire. The pain, unimaginable. The kind of pain that can fracture the mind. The kind of pain that forces the body to move, to drive forward, desperately clawing at nothing, looking for any comfort, which he finds in the nearby bog, hurling himself into the murky waters and then disappearing beneath them, leaving only steaming bubbles in his wake. Days later, Linda and Lieutenant Cable stand in front of a freshly dug grave. There is no body underneath. They never found any trace of Alec, believing he was incinerated in the fire. Nothing left to bury. Linda blames herself for not being there. Cable tells her that she would have been dead too. He suggests they head back to the lab. Miraculously, the barn has been quickly repaired. You would never know that a good man lost his life there just a few days ago. Cable tells Linda that there's no time to waste. The project is too important. Linda is still in grieving mode. For her, she cannot understand the callousness. It does not matter who lives or who dies, just the end result. Cable confirms her thoughts, and besides, with Alex gone, she is the only one who can finish the work. It then begins to rain. Cable looks to the sky and tells Linda that it used to rain like this when I was a kid. Dark, chilling, as if the sky were in pain. It feels like that again, and I do not like it at all. For the creatures of the swamp, the rain is comforting, until that rhythm is disturbed by something that bubbles and claws its way to the surface, out of the mire and into the light once more. It stumbles on unsteady legs, pausing to examine its malformed hands, the root and moss that cluster into humanoid form, all the while searching for some coherent thought. And in that single moment of reflection, it becomes clear. It knows what it is, what it has now become. A mockery, a caricature of real life, something that can only be called Swamp Thing. Still, the creature demands that logic rule the moment.
Explosion killed me. It didn't. Why? The formula. Bio-restorative. It was on the table when everything blew. It could make forests out of deserts, and it did. Chemicals mixed with flesh and swamp ooze turned me into this. Into what? The lab. The lights are still on. Linda will help.
Swamp Thing shuffles to the window to peer inside, but instead he sees his reflection in the glass.
It can't be.
And he lets out a terrible cry. He sees for the first time his horrid transformation. Cable thinks he hears something outside. He opens the door to check it out. Must just be the wind and childhood nightmares. Swamp Thing is already in the shadows of the cypress trees, hiding. He cannot let Linda see him like this, although he will stay there because he knows Ferret will be back and the rest of those who killed him, and he will be waiting for them. Before Cable can close the door, Linda's dog runs out and off into the swamp. Cable tells Linda to bolt the door, that he will go after it. He's unaware of the silent commands the dog is receiving as he makes his way through the downpour in pursuit. Through the wind and rain, Cable hears the snapping of a branch. His training lets him know it's someone wearing a size 12 work shoe, and they are prowling around the lab. He draws his weapon and goes to investigate, but he is unlucky. Bruno cracks him over the head with a shovel, knocking him out. Meanwhile, inside the lab, Linda hears more noises and calls out for Cable. But it is not Cable who enters. It is Ferret, and he is armed, and he wants to speak with Linda alone. As this occurs, Swamp Thing ponders his new isolation while waiting in the bog. He cannot even speak. His voice has also been taken, left with just his thoughts. Then, a desperate howl breaks through the trees. He runs towards it. Linda's dog is caught and sinking in the mire. He jumps in, determined to save the mutt, not wanting Linda to lose her only companion too. Then, a gunshot rings out.
No.
Swamp Thing realizes he lost his focus. He left Linda. What if they hurt her?
The lab. Gotta get back to the lab. Maybe it's not too late.
But when he bursts through the doors into the now silent structure, he sees her, lying prone on the floor.
Linda, it's all my fault. My fault. If only I hadn't gone after the dog, hadn't turned away.
Then he hears it, the roar of a car speeding down the road. His rage takes over. Breaking through the walls and then a shortcut through the bog, he finds himself in that road directly in front of the speeding vehicle. Only one word comes to his mind.
Stop.
Seeing the monster in its path, Bruno asks Ferret what it is. Ferret tells him to just run it down.
Stop.
The thought cries out in his head, but the car does not stop. And inches from colliding with him, Swamp Thing angrily cries out in his mind once more.
I said stop.
He brings both his fists down, hammering the hood of the car, crushing it, stopping it in its tracks. The sudden loss of momentum ejects Ferret through the windshield and into the rainy night. Bruno falls out of the driver's side. Swamp Thing sees him.
Then again, Ferret and his friend, the ones who killed me and my Linda.
Bruno sees the monster. He yells out to Ferret that it is not human.
Not human? No, I'm not. And you are the ones who made me that way.
Bruno, terrified, screams his last word, no. Only the sound of bone shattering and cartilage tearing break the silent night. Ferret sees Bruno finished off as he reaches for his gun, determined to kill the beast. He fires once, demanding that the monster turn and face him so he can see his eyes when he kills him. Swamp Thing does turn towards Ferret and lurches forward. Ferret continues to fire, but the bullets either miss or have no effect. Ferret cries out, "Why won't you die?" And with each shot he repeats that final word, die, 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 until his gun is empty and Swamp Thing is on top of him. Ferret's screaming finally stops. He is no more.
You can't kill a dead man, Ferret. And the man I was is most definitely dead. Maybe you'll rest easier now, Linda. Maybe we both will.
Before he can finish his thoughts, a bullet grazes his shoulder. It's Cable, that fool. Cable calls out, demanding the beast raise his hands, in some way thinking he will arrest the creature for murder. Swamp Thing looks at him with sullen eyes.
No, Cable. I'm afraid not. Much as I want to, I can't go with you. And Lord help me, I can't take you with me.
Swamp Thing turns and wanders away from Cable, back into the bog. The sound of Cable screaming at him to come back, fading with each successive step. Cable gives up, shouting into the rain that we will meet again, and next time no one with a shovel will slug me, and I will get some answers. Do you hear me, monster? Do you hear me?
I hear you, but I have no answers to give. Dr. Alec Holland had all the answers. He was an intelligent man, but Alec Holland is dead, and in his place stands only a Swamp Thing.
Thus ends the first appearance and origin story of Swamp Thing. In later issues, we would learn that Swamp Thing is not exactly who we think he is. After being shot in the head, his body is taken and dissected, and there it is revealed that Alec Holland was actually consumed by the swamp. That Swamp Thing may have been operating off of his memories and emotions, but he was never really part Alec Holland. He is his own entity, never to be cured or reverted back ever again. You can find that story in Swamp Thing Volume 2, Issues 20 and 21. A good read for fans of this character. I hope you enjoyed this look back at Swamp Thing. If you want more comic book fun, click on the thumbnail at the end of the video for our look back at the 2 Sergeant Rock stories you must read before he hits the big screen next year. Thank you for watching. Remember, I'm still your reluctant gringo, and from somewhere south of the border, salut and a huevo.